afternoon and thanks for joining us right here on Midday Kentucky, everyone. Miss Amber Freeman, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Fantastic. Why?
Because you see those colder temperatures coming.
No.
Oh.
4 more sleeps till what? The royal wedding. I'm very
I would think
excited.
you'd be more excited about the, I mean, can I just talk about that weather forecast George had? We go from 85 to the 50s the next weekend. Why are we skipping the 70s? I need them to come.
Did he say 50?
Well, there was like one day in the 70s, and then there was like some 60s and
Is
some
that bad
50s.
that I didn't really pay attention? Yeah, I was
You'll
sort
be
of
the one
reading
in
my
shorts.
scripts. Because you know I get stuck with words.
Ooh, speaking of, that's a good lead way in.
Speaking of, I was watching on the weekend, you know I had Friday off, and over the weekend I was just catching up on some hometown gossip in Australia. And I was watching the local news programs and finding out what's happening with our Prime Minister and local government. And they're all talking about the royal wedding. And you know I mispronounce
Government, royal wedding, very
Same thing.
similar.
Well, it's the royal family that allow us to have a government the way we do.
That is true.
Anyway, but so you know I always mispronounce names and things like that because we pronounce it the way we see it. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah.
So remember, I don't know, you probably don't remember, we were talking one day and someone said, I asked the client where the store was and I read it and it said, it was Maya, but I read it as Magia.
Because of the way it was spelled?
Because of the way it was spelled.
Well,
I said, oh, you just have it near Magia. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's looking at me and Katie said, you idiot.
But no, this is the reason why. On the prompter, and I'm not making excuses for when we mess up, but I'm kind of making excuses, it looks different. And you're like in a vibe of reading the prompter. It's not like somebody tells you their name.
Trips you up so
yeah,
fast.
and then you see a word and you're like, whoa,
and you've got to keep going. Anyway, now the reason why I'm bringing this up, the royal weddings this weekend, we'll get into that in a moment, but my fellow co-hosts in Australia we call her Princess Eugene, okay, in my mind, all right? I haven't got to my story yet, boss. I'm just blabbing about it. When my co-hosts were talking about it in Australia, they were saying Eugenie, let me just spell it, Eugenie, which is correct.
But no, it's not
in
correct.
their mind, because of the way we spell it.
Right, but apparently, so before this
How do you say it in America?
Well, I don't know how they say it in America, but there's an entire article that I found way before this was even, talking about this, about how to pronounce her name and how about it trips everybody up. And there's 3 different ways that most people say it, and one's Eugene, one's Eugenie, and then one is some other weird one. But apparently, according to the royal family, the way you say it is Eugenie.
Eugenie.
And the emphasis is on the U, and it's like
just weird?
J-U-H.
Yeah.
Nee.
But there's no H,
No.
which is just weird.
And when they say it in accents, you people with accents, it comes out even different, where it sounds almost like Eugenie or something like that.
Well, it's so funny because I was listening to my fellow team back in Australia. My gosh, I thought, you idiot, can't you say it properly? And then I thought to myself, oh my Lord, people probably say that about me.
Because it's one of those names. Do you think she has a nickname? I mean, that's tough.
I think there's a few. We won't mention them on air.
Oh.
All right, now we've got to talk about it, everyone. Wedding bells are in the air. This Friday is the 2nd biggest royal wedding of the year. Now, Princess Eugenie and Jack Brooksbank are getting married, and the royal festivities start at about 4:25 a.m. in the morning.
That's early. For us in America, if you want to watch it, you're going to have to turn into TLC. It's the only station airing the princess's Windsor Castle wedding.
But just remember, if 4:25 a.m., everyone, is a little too early for you, don't worry, TLC will air it again at 7:25 that same morning.
Apparently, the couple wanted to get married in 2017, but they had to wait for Prince Harry to say, I do first.
Which is protocol. Also, they invited 1,200 members. Did you hear that, everyone? 1,200 members of the public to attend. But they first had to fill out an application to see if they would be selected.
Now following, there's going to be a champagne evening party with only 400 guests. They whittled that down. And for those of you wondering, she will still keep her title as princess, but she could also take her husband's last name.
Well, of course, her sister, Princess Beatrice, will be her maid of honor. Her dress won't be revealed until the big day. Neither will the tiara she will probably wear. Now, it's interesting that let's just hold it there. The tiara, let me just break that down. She will probably wear one of the Queen's tiaras.
Will she?
Because I really don't think her grandparents on her mother's side had tiaras because they're Australian. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I don't think they had tiaras.
I have a trivia question for you, since you're the expert. How many
Well,
tiaras?
I heard you say that on Friday. I'm not an expert.
But you know more than any of us,
Well,
so you're the
because
expert
just
on set.
I would know not enough about your presidents. I would expect Americans to know more about their presidents. No?
Well, I mean, about their, I don't know what we're talking about there.
Okay.
Because with the royal family, we talk a lot about what they wear, not really
Yeah.
what they do.
Okay.
But how many tiaras does she have?
Oh, I think she'd probably have about maybe a dozen.
You think?
I think about a dozen.
Only
yeah.
a dozen. Is that
Yeah.
just a random
I
number?
think, let's Google that in our back room if we can. How many tiaras does the Queen have? Queen Elizabeth II. Before we end the show, we'll tell you. The whole wedding of 9th in line. Now, Princess Eugenie, I actually calculated in my head she was 7th in line, but I must be missing someone because I couldn't work out how unless she's her sister's younger.
So this is a dumb question. Do all of William and
No, so it
all of
goes.
their kids?
It goes Prince Charles,
Right.
Then it goes Prince William, then his 3 children,
Okay.
then I believe Prince Harry, then Princess Eugenie. So that's 7, unless I've got it completely wrong.
there's 2 kids missing
I'm
in
missing
here. Maybe
2
they're the
people.
mystery
Yeah.
royal
Now
children.
she's 9th in line for the throne, and guess what? The event will be paid privately, except for her security provisions, which presumably fall on the British taxpayer. Now, there was a huge outcry saying that the British taxpayer should not be footing the bill for this royal wedding. So it's interesting to see that they're only paying for security now.
This royal wedding is supposed to be pretty extravagant. They were talking about her after party and how they're kind of doing it way different than any of the other royals had. And it's kind of a carnival theme. Why I know all this, I don't know. But
Well, Duchess of Cornwall is also not attending, which is Prince Charles's wife.
is that a little gossipy?
Well, that is a little gossipy. Guess what she's giving it up to go to? She's going to the Harvest Festival for a school. I know that sounds crazy, but this Harvest
There's
Festival
good games there.
only happens once a year. I think there was a little bit of drama, but, the Queen also didn't attend Prince William's latest christening for his youngest daughter. So, we were just told they have a minimum of 10 tiaras that
So
we
you're
could
close.
find. I was pretty close. I didn't think they'd have more than that. So tell us what you think about the royal wedding. We'd love to hear
Are you gonna watch?
your thoughts. I probably won't watch the 4:25.
What?
Yeah, I will
How
watch the
diehard
7:25.
are you?
Not that
It's already
diehard.
happened at
She's
7:25,
9th in
Troy.
line. No, she won't even get a tea towel.
Priorities.
In England, they have all those tea towels and everything, and tea cozies that you put over the teapot, with their all embroidery and everything. She probably won't even get a tea towel.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I mean, her wedding's not big or anything.
Alrighty,
lucky.
everyone. This is very serious. The high school is getting backlash, and the band director is on administrative leave. Now, after the band performed a halftime skit during a football game, it showed police being held at gunpoint. This was after 2 local police officers were killed in the line of duty on September 29. Officials say the skit was supposed to be loosely based on the movie John Q. Since then, the principal issued an apology and said the sketch was insensitive. Now, let me just remind everyone before we go any further on this. This is a band. I do not understand what a marching band is doing a skit for. I've never seen it. Amber?
Yeah, that's a kind of a normal thing in
Is
high
it?
schools. Yeah, they usually pick a theme for their halftime show, and they'll either switch it up and they kind of
Right.
act things out and make all their formations.
Like the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Yeah, downsize, unless they go to a really great high school.
Yeah.
I think the major issue in this, one, guns are obviously such a sensitive issue. There was just a shooting 2 days prior to this in that same town.
So everything was very sensitive already.
Very sensitive.
I understand where the kids are coming from in why they did the skit. I also understand the backlash from the public and also, I might add, some of their fellow students saying that this was the wrong thing. Okay, they should not have done this.
Well, just earlier this year, at one of the high school games, the cannons or fireworks went off, and the crowd was so sensitive that they all got
Thought
up
it was
and
guns.
yes, and ran out and hid under the bleachers. So already people are so worried about this, and the fact that they went and did a skit like that, it is a little controversial. I mean, that's risky, and the principal apologized and said it was a very insensitive mood,
he
especially
also
in light.
got rid of, sorry, I shouldn't say fired. He's been put on leave, the school captain or the school sports PE teacher.
What do you think about that move?
Totally.
You think he should be
Well,
gone?
yeah, the buck stops with him.
Right.
And I think teachers need to understand that, you know, and I support teachers, but that is something that shouldn't have happened.
Sure.
Tell us what you think. I believe we've put the whole story up on our Facebook page. I'd love to hear your comments, especially when you listen and hear the video clip.
And it's a public game. I mean, it's something where it's supposed to be fun and uplifting and exciting, and especially if the mood is already like that. It's a little depressed because this just happened so recently.
Alrighty, let's move on, everyone. I had to show you this story as well. There's an Instagram account that shares pictures of airline passengers shaming what they do. Now, we've all seen them and we've laughed or gone, gross, isn't it hideous? Like placing their feet on an armrest, right? Well, this one of their most recent pictures, the story goes like this. A young woman bought a potty seat on the plane with her and then had her child use it in the aisle in front of everyone. Now, when flight attendants told her she shouldn't be doing this, and she should do this in the lavatory, she said, I don't give a you-know-what, and no pun intended, of course, there has been tremendous backlash over this, some praising the mother, some saying that they make the lavatories too small for two people. Listen, if there's people having sex in the lavatories on planes,
I think they can get
there's someone's got room to have a baby on the Lulu.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you know what I mean?
What is she
Is
thinking?
that just not... I'm sorry. Where is the human decency? Like...
just all around.
Why do you...
What?
What? Look, I would be fuming if that happened while I was on the plane.
And then her response. I think that's, it's kind of like, it's hard for us to critique parents because we don't have kids, but a lot of times the way they react to criticism
I think
right in front of their kids.
I think it's perfectly fine to
doing?
armchair critique. Unless it's not about
I can't
me.
wait till Troy has kids.
I know.
Well, have you checked out this Instagram account?
It's not good.
Some of it's
Go
really,
online,
really gross.
have a
Go
look.
look at it.
You see what people... That's what I mean. I don't understand how you can go into a public place, like an aeroplane, and think that those type of things are A-OK. But used to be a smoker, as you all know, and even now, I don't care if you're smoking in public or something like that. Like it is what it is. But I don't think I was always conscious of who was around me.
You?
I was always a good public smoker. Do you know what I mean?
TT's a good smoker.
I know. But I just don't get
Well, a lot of people are asking how she even got this like little potty on the plane.
Well, I
first
guess
place.
just through...
Yeah, I don't think that would be an issue either.
You know that X-ray thing?
But I don't even have any words.
We're
How do
lost,
you
everyone.
make that happen?
Tell us what you think. We've put this up on our Facebook page.